And thank you, Mike Joy. For the time being, rain not over this Martinsville Speedway in Martinsville, Virginia. Forecast does look dicey, but for the time being, we will see race trucks headed on to the 0.526 mile Martinsville Speedway. Great reminder of NASCAR's past. This track opened in 1947. One of NASCAR's original charter tracks, if you will. Always great to be here. We're right outside Turn 4 at the speed stage. Let's take a look at the menu for the remainder of this Friday here on Speed. Final practice for the Camping World Truck Series. That's an hour and a half. Then you'll see Sprint Cup qualifying. Michael Waltrip was the first driver out in that session, weather permitting. Trackside, Timothy Peters from the Camping World Truck Series joins us, as well as Marcus Ambrose, who had a great run at Bristol. Let's take a look at the highlights from the first Camping World Truck Series practice. Fifth quick, we'll go fifth through first. Terry Cook in his Harris Trucking Toyota Tundra. Quick time, 20.165. That's almost 94 miles an hour. There's Timothy Peters. He'll join us on trackside. Hayes Iron and Metals Toyota. The only Chevrolet to crack the top 5 belongs to Kevin Harvick, driving a truck that he owns. 94.37 miles per hour. Second quick, another local driver. How about Stacy Compton in the 60 truck, sponsored by Weiler.com. And the quickest, David Starr, a new dad. David, 20.04. The top 5 separated by just over a tenth of a second. Now let's take a look at the top 10. See Johnny Benson, series champion. 6th, Ron Hornaday, Kyle Busch doing double duty here this weekend. Mike Skinner, a 3-time winner here, and Brian Scott. It's time now for the Advanced Auto Parts Garage Report. And down in the garage, we have Randy Pemberton and Bob Dillner. We start with Randy.
We thought we'd talk to Carl Edwards before he gets ready to address the media behind his hauler. Carl, a little bit different here with rain pending. Perhaps qualifying might not happen here today. How did you guys approach that last practice session?
I was just excited you came to interview me. I'm glad somebody took note of our 29th place in practice here at Martinsville. We are a little bit far down this chart. We worked hard on race trim, and that Aflac Fusion is actually pretty good on a run. I made one qualifying run there at the end. It was okay. It ran a 90, 95 or something. But we're kind of banking on it raining today, raining qualifying out. That would probably give me a great starting position, better than we'd probably get if we qualified. And then tomorrow, if it rains, we wanted to make sure we practice race trim. So hopefully it works out. Hopefully we made the right call. But if we have to qualify, I think we've got a good car.
Well, you've picked up a few nicknames over the years, particularly for winning races and being called Flipper and so forth. But Steve Burns wanted to know, what was that nickname they gave you originally called Kirby up here? You don't have that anymore, do you?
Thanks, Steve, for bringing that out. Yeah, it's Kirby. Dirt racing, when I was running that truck here, dirt racing at that time, you could run down there against the guardrail. If you hit a little berm or something, it's no big deal. Hitting the curb here when you're underneath somebody is very ugly. And, Brendan Gaughan pointed it out when I went and told him, hey, sorry for wrecking you. He said, why don't you just walk up here and apologize to all those people? And that's a long day. So, yeah, stay off the curbs if you're a rookie here at Martinsville. It's bad.
Hey, good luck to you the rest of the day and this weekend as well. To Bob Dillner.
Well, Randy, 37th quick in that practice session for this guy, Martin Truex Jr., but that doesn't tell the tale because he was in race trim, not qualifying trim that entire time. But what we want to talk about is what the broadcasted showed during practice, a little bump and run with you and David Stremme. What was that about, Martin?
Oh, I didn't know we were on TV. No, I was out there. I was just out there on a long run, and he came out of the pits on stickers. And generally here, it takes you a lap or two for your stickers to hook up. So I was just on a race run, and he pulled out in front of me and was a little bit slow. And I figured he'd let me go, and he didn't. So I just was saying hi. I'm back here. I'm a little bit faster. You probably should have just pulled out in front of me, or behind me. But it's all good. No big deal. Car's best for Chevy's pretty good. We did race trim, like I said, the whole time. And right there at the end, we put another set on and made a long run. And car drove really good, so we're looking forward to the weekend. we think it's going to rain. We hope it does because we didn't do any qualifying runs, so we'll see what happens.
I was just going to ask that. You're hoping that it rains out qualifying, or would you like to get that in?
Well, I mean, I'm not hoping it is, but we're banking on it now. I mean, you know, we kind of played our hand here, so we just wanted to get some extra time in race trim. We had a decent run here in the fall last year, and just trying to improve on that. So we concentrated on race trim, thinking it was going to rain, and just have to wait and see what happens. If we get to qualify, we'll just have to, you know, throw some tires on and see what it'll do.
All right, Martin, thank you so much. Steve Burns, always interesting here on the short tracks. Always a little bump and run, and some marks on the back of David Stremmy's number 12. He's got a big old donut on the side, and that's after only one practice session. And Martin Truex Jr. saying hello to David Stremme during that practice.
Well, Bob, the Jesse Jones hot dogs are good, but that's why I love Martinsville, the beating and banging.
Exactly. It's always a lot of fun. And you know what? On Sunday, on your Fox broadcast, we're going to see a whole heck of a lot more of that.
As Martin Truex Jr. says, Bob, it's all good. It's just short track racing at Martinsville. We'll take a break and come back with more half-mile hijinks. A little while ago, Dale Jr. had his old school Washington Redskins hat on. I like that. We'll be back to Martinsville right after this. Back in Martinsville through 3 races in this 2009 season. We take a look at the point standings. You see Kyle Busch atop your leaderboard. Todd Bodine got a win at Daytona. 1995 Series champion Mike Skinner third, followed by another 3-time champion Ron Hornaday and Chad McCumbee. Let's go down inside the garage and catch up with Randy.
Well, all the guys are strapped in here for the Camping World Truck Series, and we'll step in here and grab Todd Bodine real quick. Get ready to spit out there a little bit, Todd. Hope you get on the track.
Actually, I kind of hope we don't. Our Wheeling Engineering Tundra is really pretty good. I'd go so far to say it's probably the best truck I've had at Martinsville. So I'm pretty happy with it. It's got great forward bite, and it turns good. And here comes the rain.
Okay, good luck to you, Todd, and let's go over to Bob Dillner.
Well, Randy, I just went to look to see if we can get a hold of David Stremme to get the other side of the story, but unfortunately he's already gone out to his coach, which is located on the outside of the racetrack here. But take a look at the donut on the side of the number 12 here. That's nothing, though. These guys really beating and banging during this practice session a little bit, and disagreeing of sorts. But check this out. Some scrapes, bangs, and bruises here on the back end of David Stremme's car as well. In fact, a lot of the guys were coming up underneath this car to check out if they needed to repair anything. But the bumps and bruises came from that incident right there on the racetrack. David Stremme, according to Martin Truex Jr., getting in the way, and then Martin Truex Jr. gave him a little bump, and then they had a little fun on the racetrack. But this is the damage here, but they did look underneath here to see if there was any permanent damage that they actually had to fix, Steve, but A-OK for the number 12. These things are tough.
And Bob, you know, DW makes the point that since they've gone to the COT, the bumpers, front bumper to rear bumper, line up. So it isn't like when they use the old cars and you get jacked up if you hit somebody from behind.
That's true, Steve. Actually, if that would have happened with the old car, the car would have, the nose of the car behind Martin Truex would have dove underneath here, lifted David Stremme up in the air a little bit, and probably spun him out in the corner. So kudos to NASCAR on a good job for lining up the rear bumper and the front bumper of these machines now.
All right, thank you, Bob. And we don't go to weatherchannel.com here, weather.com. I just asked the fans, is it raining? Well, unfortunately, raindrops starting to fall here at the Martinsville Speedway. But stay with us here on Speed. We're going to keep you posted throughout the rest of the day. Don't forget trackside, 7 p.m. Eastern later tonight. Glad you're with us here on Speed at the Martinsville Speedway. When we come back, final practice for the Camping World Truck Series competitors, or so we hope. Stay with us here on Speed. We'll keep you posted on the weather and everything happening here at the beautiful half-mile Martinsville Speedway.
Welcome back to Martinsville, Virginia, here in the Martinsville Speedway area. Camping World Truck Series final practice about to take place. The storm that has moved from Texas through Mississippi, Alabama, up through Georgia and through North Carolina is about here. As a matter of fact, there's precipitation in the area, and it's not just from the sweat coming off of Michael Waltrip in his let's see.
He's trying
Chariots
to
of fire run there. Is that what
he's trying to create the vortex that Darrell talks about to get that rain up out of here.
Actually, it was good running for him.
I want to point out that was slow motion.
Was it? I thought that was real time.
They'd sped it up.
No,
I thought they'd sped it up.
I can go a little fast. Not much, but a little bit faster
Well, I know
than
you've
that.
run a marathon before, so
Yeah.
you're pacing yourself.
Yeah, I know how to run a long ways. I don't know how to do the short distance.
Well, as we can hear in the background, the trucks are making their way back out there. The rain isn't here yet, but they're talking about it being imminent. So what do you do in this short period of time to try to get acclimated to what the track's like?
I think you're seeing it right now. Those guys were all bunched up. They wanted to be on the track as soon as they said go, and most of the good trucks are because they know this practice will probably be limited. It's already sprinkling, but I'll tell you, I was just on the track, Rick. As you know, it's in perfect shape. The only concern I see so far is this new Goodyear tire is throwing off a lot of rubber.
Yeah.
So just outside of the groove, there's rubber pieces and bits everywhere. You get pushed up into that, it's going to be a couple laps before you can ever get your momentum back because all the gook gets on the tires.
You can see it right there. And does that mean these tires are wearing more than the tires we had last year? Is that going to create some more tire changes for the truck series?
Oh, well, I think it definitely will, due to the fact that we've seen guys, the guy that won the race here a year ago never changed tires.
Right.
And that won't happen tomorrow. I believe these guys are going to have some fresh tires. We ran 64 some laps on the Napa Toyota on our tires, and we had lost over a half a second. You can't hardly give up that much time on this tight half-mile track. That's an eternity on a little track like this.
Right. A year ago, we saw almost a powder that was collecting up on the outside of the groove, and now we're starting to see what they call the marbles up there, where you're seeing a little bit bigger rubber.
It's big clumps, and, and when you get off in it, it really messes up your tires. Because the tires are hot, that rubbery gook will stick to it, and you can't get any grip. It'll mess you up for a couple, 3 laps.
As you mentioned, a lot of trucks taking advantage of the green flag coming out. Pretty much, well, with the exception of about a handful of trucks, everybody is on the racetrack right now.
Yeah, they know time is of the essence here. They want to absolutely get as many laps because they need some more. They need more data on those right side tires to see what they think they're going to have to do, plan for strategy tomorrow.
Talk about weather being a big issue. Let's go to our meteorologist, Ray Dunlap.
Well, thank you, Rick. You're talking about green flag racing on the track. We've got green dots all over the radar. Let me show you. This is the town of Martinsville, Virginia. This is the racetrack, Martinsville. And this is Ridgeway, Virginia. This is about 15 miles between here. You notice a lot of green to the west. But there is some clearing down below here. There's a chance that these little dots of rain might miss us. And after we clear that one right there, looks like maybe 40 minutes of open time if we miss it. Adam?
But despite the fact the radar may show an opportunity to get plenty of practice time, these teams are taking no chances, including David Starr, who was the quickest in that opening session earlier this morning. Starr won this race back in 2006, and when he was getting set to go out for practice number 2, I said, can we talk to you about the success earlier in the day? And he said, absolutely not. We got to get on track. Track time is precious, no doubt about it. He's out there now trying to back up what he did earlier today, guys.
Ron Hornaday has jumped to the top of the chart right now at a 20 point. Actually, just now ran faster at a 20.18. His lap before that was a 20.20. So the track still has a lot of speed in it, Michael.
It does. It was in great shape. I think that that these guys are getting a perfect dose of what they're looking for. The track is not an issue right now. Their truck is. You know, the track isn't going to change much between now and when they race. If we get it in tomorrow, which I hope we do, or if it's Monday, this place is pretty consistent, especially when the temperatures are cool. If it gets real hot, then maybe some issues with the rubber buildup in the corners, making these trucks drive differently. But I'd say the track will be pretty consistent from now on.
There is obviously a uniqueness about this racetrack too, where you have concrete in the corners but asphalt on the straightaways.
Yeah, and what'll change is if I've seen, and Phil, you have too over the years, where the rubber that's on the tires starts sticking to the concrete. And so you'll go down in the corner, you'll be racing on concrete, and then all of a sudden you'll have to go through some patches of rubber where the tires have actually built up that surface.
Right.
And so that makes things challenging, but we haven't seen that yet this week.
Yeah, and a lot of times that rubber will stick to the painted lines on the racetrack. Now, they don't have a whole bunch of lines on the concrete at this racetrack, and that's one of the reasons is because that rubber sticks to the paint quicker than it would the concrete.
We were just looking at the 11 of TJ Bell. Let's take a look at what Mike Skinner sees as he gets right up behind and maybe gives a little bit of a tap there to that 11.
There's no maybe about it. Yeah.
I mean, maybe, Rick.
Well, I was being generous to Skinner.
Well, that's what you're going to see repeatedly when you tune in tomorrow. These guys get to race, and that's the only way to pass. There is no other option. You have to lean on a guy a little bit. You got to get him out of whack. You might be able to get up beside him without pushing him if he slips, but if he doesn't slip, it's almost impossible to drive up beside a guy.
And that plays in everybody's pit strategy. I mean, yeah, the tires may have fallen off a little bit, but we averaged in the last 5 races here well over 20 cars or 20 trucks on the lead lap and in the race. So you don't want to be the guy that gives up 5th position to come in and come back out 23rd with 30 laps to go. There's no way you can pass all those trucks, even if you are a half a second faster.
Not enough room to get by here at this racetrack. We see the Whelen sticker on the front of Todd Bodine's truck. As we talked about in Atlanta, they were not going to come to this race unless they had a sponsor, and sure enough, Whelen came on board, and so Todd Bodine will race another day.
And that wasn't lip service. I mean,
no.
they were legitimately considering not coming to this race, and Sonny Whelen, fortunately, who's a good friend of the Bodine family, decided to jump on board and help him. And he's also very involved with the bobsled project.
Rotate just a little better.
That Jeff Bodine, Todd's brother, is so heavily involved and actually has designed the bobsleds that our USA Olympic team drives.
Yeah, Bodine bobsleds.
Now, you remember at Atlanta, these guys were wide open. Oh, we'd barely hear them lift. Listen to all this action. Listen to Colin Brown off the gas.
And easy on the gas.
And listen when he comes off the gas down here at 1.
Just past the start-finish line. Just barely past the start-finish line.
And see how smooth he is with that gas pedal? That's very important. You got it. You can't bust those tires loose with the hit of the gas. It's really critical that you get a good smooth throw to the gas pedal. You work with your team. You work with the engine folks to make sure the carburetor's tuned properly. Here, Mike Skinner here.
And by the way, that truck of Colin Brown that was off the throttle so long, he went to the top of the board. Now Rick Crawford just knocked him down one more spot, but a very, very good truck, and that's how you run a lap here at Martinsville. Hermie Sadler moving over to let Mike Skinner go by.
Seems like Skinner a little bit longer in the gas than Colin Brown was.
Skinner 10th fast. I just love listening to that. That's an art. When you race here at Martinsville and when you drive this place like we've seen Dennis Setzer and Ron Hornaday, Johnny Benson, some of these guys drive it, it's an art.
And it's so easy to overdrive these corners here. And I've had times where you try, in qualifying, well, I need to get me a little bit more. And you drive in the corners, oh my gosh, I got in the corner too hard. Then you use more brake that you've been using before. You end up slowing down more than anything. So it's a very, very fine line here to try to put a good lap in the books here.
We saw David Starr in the first practice. Well, you call it win the practice at 20.041. Already early in this practice run, 20.097 for Rick Crawford. So looking to put the blue ovals up the wide. Speed's presentation of NASCAR Camping World Truck Series practice from Martinsville is brought to you by Camping World, the official RV and outdoor retailer of NASCAR. Few people utilizing tents that they may have got from Camping World because of the moisture that is coming down, and now the red flag comes out. That's what they do in practice session. You don't see a caution, but red flag comes out because of moisture. Rain is coming down on the racetrack now.
You're going to see all these trucks pull under tents, Al, in just a minute. This is the rain that Ray showed us was very, very close and very imminent, and it looks like it made it here. Maybe it's just going to be a little brief, little brief
spotty,
spot, and have a little clearing behind it.
That's why Camping World is such a great fit for NASCAR racing. We know how to camp. That's what we've been doing for many, many years now.
Well, off the backstretch.
24 or 5.
Yeah, we don't know how many, but for at least 24 or 5. We've been camping over in the motorhome lot like the fans do a lot of times. And the teams, those rigs and the pits are makeshift campsites. They have to have everything they need in order to survive for the weekend. And so I love Camping World being here, and we get it. We understand it.
There's a little food down there, too, in some of those trucks.
The teams were prepared for this before the practice started. We saw a lot of these tents were already in place, and then when they were able to get practice started, a lot of them put them back behind the wall, but they're coming back out now, and so they will cover the trucks up. We'll see if this is a brief shower that passes through.
That's a bad looking dog on the quarter panel of that 5 truck there. Big board mowers on board. Bad board mowers on the, there it is right there, Mike Skinner's truck. Randy Moss Motorsports.
You want to have an intimidating appearance here at Martinsville. Black truck with a mean dog on it, and Mike Skinner behind the wheel.
Yeah.
I like the way that sounds.
Ron Hornaday has the big bowl on his with the long horns. Michael, you talked about listening in and the timing and everything. Let's listen into Mike Skinner's lap.
A little bit loose right there is what that was.
You know, you could hear him clump the gas. He hit it hard, and then he came off of it. Even that little bit, listen, he said, I've had enough. Even that little bit of a clump and then off and then back to it, it upsets the tires. You can't get a smooth gas off the corner, and then eventually the thing will bust out sideways on you.
These engines have so much torque that you touch that throttle and it responds, and that right now right there it responded to Mike Skinner.
Even with the tapered spacer, I mean,
Even
they put
with the
that on there
tapered
to limit the horsepower, but it still has so much horsepower.
Let's just let everybody at home know you've never, most 99.9% of people had never driven anything with this much power.
Oh,
These
yeah.
things are they're crazy. And I love giving somebody a ride in a car, you know, if you get a chance. They just can't imagine that you can't just push the gas down. If you do, you'll just sit still, spinning. And that's what these guys are faced with here at Martinsville. Skinner particularly was having some trouble there.
Ray Dunlap, are you staying dry?
Yeah, I'm under the tent down here, but watching these guys working on Skinner's bad boy mower truck. And, you know, guys, at the beginning of the season, we talked a lot about how quickly this deal came together at Randy Moss Motorsports for Skinner and these guys. And I think what's important to realize is they didn't have a lot of trucks ready to go at the beginning of the season, and they switched over to Toyotas. So by doing that, they had to make some of their old Chevrolet trucks into Toyotas. But this chassis that they've got with them this weekend is the first edition of their brand new trucks for 2009. And Mike Skinner was on the radio talking to Eric Phillips, his crew chief, saying, guys, I think we've got a really, really good piece. And remember, Skinner won a pair of races here just a couple of years ago. So I think his team, number 5 in the Bad Boy Motors group, might be a contender tomorrow. Mike Skinner sounding very, very happy with this 5 truck.
You know, that team really has started out strong. They've got three finishes this year, 11th or better, including a 4th last time out at Atlanta.
Well, you remember Skinner talking about, let us get through these first 3 races and we'll have some stuff for them. And, you know, Skinner's got to feel good about winding up here at Martinsville, it being the 4th race, them having a couple, 3 weeks to get prepared for this race. I can't, as a team owner, I can't tell you how important it is to build the next generation of a race vehicle. At MWR, we've improved our cars so many times, and we've just gotten them better and better, and it takes time to do that. Skinner and these guys, that's the latest truck they built. It's the best thing they've ever built, and that means it's going to go faster. It's that simple.
And how big is that for a guy like Taylor Malsom, who comes in here a rookie in the series, teammates to Mike Skinner, and has the advantage of that technology that they've been able to put forth?
Well, it just means the world to Taylor because he knows that the truck is there. He knows what he can gauge himself off Mike Skinner. If Mike Skinner's up there running good, he says, okay, I got this same stuff. I know it's just a matter of time that I can start running like that because I've got the truck underneath me. Last year at Indy, I saw Marcus Ambrose over there at Indy, and his motor was broken. Practice was going on. He's standing there scratching his head. I want to go race. I need some practice. I got to get out there. And I put my arm around him. I said, dude, I lived it. I lived it, building cars, getting started, and how difficult it is to do just that. And I'm glad to see guys like Taylor get the opportunity and race in a truck. Even Brian Scott, J.R. Richards, that truck has proven to be fast. You know, they get into trucks and they don't have to worry about the equipment. They can focus on their job and say, this truck is good, I know it. I just need to do my part.
Now, folks, we mentioned there were sprinkles coming down. It has turned into an all-out rain, but this actually could be the calm before the storm. We've taken a look at the radar, and this is just a little blip. Behind it, almost the entire state of North Carolina is covered in green right now. So the rain is coming. It's just a matter of time when it's going to get here in full force.
You forgot South Carolina when you were talking about all the states that got rain.
Yeah, thanks, Phil. We'll be right back with more rain from Martinsville. Welcome back to Martinsville, Virginia. Yes, a little bit of precipitation on the camera lens there, as the final practice for the Camping World Truck Series has been halted because of rain. You see the trucks underneath the tents on pit road. There's the 5 of Mike Skinner. We listened to that motor running around the racetrack moments ago. Let's hear from the driver now. He's with Ray Dunlap.
And I'll tell you, Rick, it's been a long time since I've seen this big of a smile on Mike Skinner. You got a lot of confidence, a good truck, new piece, and a big smile on your face today.
Brand new piece. Look at the quarter panel. Bad boy, we're back together. We kind of getting the band back together here for one race and having a lot of fun, man. This is a brand new truck. This is just going to be its first race, and it's responding to everything we do. We might not be the cream of the crop, but we're awfully proud of this truck, and I think it's going to race really good.
You had another edition of the Mike Skinner Roundup. I know you guys raised a lot of money for charity, but you and I were talking during the break there, and you were saying you guys didn't even know the thing was going to come together because you were out looking for a job before that, right?
Well, yeah, we decided to do the Roundup again, and Toyota signed up again with us, and Halifax, and we had some really great sponsors. But then the next thing you know, we didn't have a job, so that really kind of crimped us a little bit on preparation for it. But it turned out really, really good, and raised a lot of money for charities there in Volusia County, and it was a pretty good event. Randy came by, he checked it out. Speaking of bad boys, see, we got the whole bad boy theme going here.
Tell me about Martinsville and where it ranks on your list of favorites whenever you take a look at the Camping World Truck Series schedule.
Man, it's in the top 5 for sure. You know, I love, you know, Bristol, Martinsville, Richmond. Of course, we don't get a chance to race Richmond anymore. Darlington. I'm a short track racer, and you know, we run pretty good on the big tracks, but this is a lot of fun, man. You're going to see a lot of beating and banging here this weekend, a lot of sparks flying, and hopefully we do a little cutting with this bad boy machine.
All right, good luck to you. Those mowers are fast, and Skinner's fast in this 5 truck. Adam?
And I guess the question, Ray, what race will Kyle Busch win this weekend? You're perfect on the year. Every weekend we race, you seem to find your way to victory lane in something. So can the truck be the one that gets you there tomorrow afternoon?
I hope both of them are, but I'll take one or the other. It doesn't really matter to me. But yeah, it feels like our Miccosukee Tundra is not terrible right now. We're fighting it a little bit with the more wear that you get on tires. Just seems like, you know, Goodyear brought the tire that NASCAR wanted. It really falls off. So pit strategy is going to be big this weekend, and trying to figure that out, and you know, being the best guy with that.
When you got out of the truck, you and crew chief Doug George talked for quite a bit, and it would appear that you are pretty hands-on with this thing, more so on this side than on the Cup side, and making suggestions and maybe using your own 2 hands to get it better.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Doug, he's really been making these things drive pretty nice this year, and so we unloaded here, and I would have parked it and went on, but you got to run laps on tires, and you got to make sure that your cars or your truck's going to be good on the long run here. So, you know, for us, we've kept going on the same set of tires to just try to keep getting better and better, and we've been making some changes, and every changes we've been making, we've been going forward. So, yeah, I make my suggestions a little bit, but, you know, Doug's pretty knowledgeable on what he's doing.
Every track is different. Is there a benefit to running the truck here, and how that will carry over on Sunday?
A little bit, because we're learning the tire. You know, we're learning a tire here to see what changes work, because the same things that we tried over there on the Cup side worked over here. So, you know, if we can learn some more things over here to take over there, we'll be all right.
Thanks, Kyle.
Yep.
You were pointing at the food back there.
Yeah, there was some chocolate chip cookies.
Oh, it was
background.
cookies.
Yeah.
I thought they were hot dogs that you were pointing at. I was like, well, yeah, of course, Martinsville's famous for hot
chocolate
dogs.
chip cookies.
And we saw the
Chocolate
rain
chip cookies.
falling pretty good, but this track dries in a hurry, Phil, so we could get back on track for some action.
Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah.
And again, the rain, we saw it, Ray showed us earlier, the rain was little pockets for a while here, and he mentioned, you know, maybe 45 minutes until the big front comes through. So it was just a quick shower, but it was enough that it's pretty much coated the whole racetrack, so they've got to bring out the jet dryers right now to try to get it dried off. And again, they only use that bottom line for the most part, you know, maybe up one line from that, but it's still enough that they've got to get that dried off. One other driver that obviously is a favorite for this race back in the truck, the number 2 is Kevin Harvick, and he's standing by with Ray.
And here's the good news, Rick. Kevin Harvick has a new sponsor this week, and Bounty, the quicker picker up. We should just give them a bunch of towels and they could dry the racetrack for us.
Yeah, we're excited to have Bounty on board this week, and they definitely could swallow up a little bit of this water, but it's fun to have sponsors on all 3 trucks this week. The guys have worked really hard. Got to thank the people from Kroger and Bounty for putting all this together.
Tell me, Kevin, you were in the truck earlier today, then you switch over to the Cup car and back to the truck. Tell me about the similarities and the differences between the 2 divisions on a track like this.
Well, the biggest difference is the engine. You know, the Cup car's got so much more power. They don't drive quite as good as the truck does, but here it's a lot less than you'd see at a lot of other places. But the power is definitely the biggest difference.
Tell me about this truck and your team this weekend. A victory in sight? How good are you?
Well, I think the truck's really good. We made wholesale changes from the first practice. Obviously, we've got a little bit different tire, and it's reacting a little bit differently. So the truck was really good when we went out for the second session, and that's kind of what all we really needed. I don't know if we'll get qualifying in the morning, but with the new pit rules and everything, I think there's a good opportunity to do some pit strategy and make up some track position pretty fast.
Well, that was my last question for you about pit strategy. Have you guys talked about it? How many pit stops will we see tomorrow in the truck race?
Well, I don't think it's going to be a deal where it's just going to come down to fuel mileage, because the tires get to a point and they fall off pretty good. So I think it's going to be, some different strategies, but I think you're definitely going to have to put tires on.
All right, good luck to you. That's Kevin Harvick, new sponsor with Bounty on the number 2 truck. Let's check back in with Double A.
And something is wrong with this picture. We've heard from Mike Skinner, Kyle Busch, and Kevin Harvick, all veterans of NASCAR, and now we get 19-year-old James Busher. Turned 19 yesterday, and your first visit to Martinsville. What do you think?
Oh, it's a different racetrack. I mean, it's not like any other racetrack that we go to on the circuit, but it's tight corners. You got to get it low down. So I don't know. We're getting it under control, and Max Force F-150 should be pretty good by the end of the race tomorrow, if we get to race tomorrow. I mean, I'd like to be practicing right now to get laps, and you said I'd never been here, so experience is going to be important, but I don't have a whole lot of it here, so hopefully we can get a decent qualifying lap tomorrow and have a good race.
I know you tested on the short track over at Rockingham, which is similar to this place. Are there other things you can do in preparation for your Martinsville debut?
I don't really know. I mean, I've played the video game. I've watched a bunch of races here. I had never physically been here before, so I don't know how else to prepare for it. The short track at Rockingham is pretty similar, other than there's no walls at the short track at Rockingham, so it's similar and different, but I don't know. There's not much you can do.
Your teammate Rick Crawford pretty good on short tracks. He give you any advice?
Not a whole lot yet. I'll go talk to him here in a little while. Haven't talked to him much after practice started, so see if he has any pointers on how I can get around here a little faster. But I think our truck's pretty good on long runs. We just don't have the short run speed right now, but it's not falling off a lot, so that's pretty good.
James Busher, one of those Rookie of the Year contenders who no doubt is earning his stripes this weekend.
James talked about really not talking to Rick Crawford a whole lot yet, but sometimes you have to get out there before you even know what kind of questions to ask. I mean, you just can't arbitrarily, before you come here and talk about this racetrack and get every little question answered. You have to kind of get on the racetrack first before you know what to ask.
James Busher, as Adam mentioned, just turned 19 years old yesterday. The youngest winner at this racetrack was John Wood when he won at 21 years old.
In the first segment, I got spun out in the tri-oval and slid through the grass. Didn't hit anything great, thank goodness, but it broke part of her air dam in front. So the rest of that segment, the car didn't handle very well.
Trouble front straightaway. Down the front straightaway. Jeff Bodine came down the whole front straightaway backwards.
Whoa! We started up front because we didn't finish good in the first segment, and showed, well, the car had potential. And Ernie Irvin was trying to make a pass in the grass, and Ernie miscalculated a bit and spun around.
Look at him make that move across the grass, through the grass. He's won.
Well, these Hoosier tires, it took a couple laps to get them going. So on the start, I got passed by Serlin Marlin and Kenny Schrader. Came back and passed both of them on the outside. That was an incredible feeling to win that first race in my own car, and very blessed that it happened that night.
Celebrating 25 years of All-Star memories. Don't miss the NASCAR Sprint All-Star Race on Speed May 16th. NASCAR on Speed. Be there.
Welcome back. Final practice for the Camping World Truck Series. Slowed right now because of precipitation in the area. They're drying the racetrack, trying to get it ready so that the trucks can go back out there. While they are drying that, some of the drivers have climbed out of the trucks, one of those being Todd Bodine with Adam Alexander.
And there is no doubt, Rick, the 2006 Series champion has had a great deal of success throughout the Truck Series, but Martinsville, not a place where your numbers jump out. How has the truck been today?
Our Whelen Engineering Tundra, it's pretty darn good. I'm really, really pleased. We went to Little Rockingham last week, and we changed the whole back of the truck the way we have it set up and made tremendous gains, and I'm really pleased with it. We just ran a 20-lap run and ran really good times at the end, so I'm pretty pumped up about it.
Whelen Engineering, kind of a friend helping a friend for one race to continue the program. Where do you guys go from here, Todd?
Well, we weren't coming to Martinsville, and Sonny Whelen and Phil Kurz at Wheeling Engineering decided, you know, they've been so good to our bobsled project, and they've been friends of our family for a long time. And you know, Sonny stepped up and said, we're going to help you get to Martinsville. So we got Wheeling Engineering on board this week, and so proud to represent a great company. Everything they build is made in America, and we're really proud of that fact. And so are our bobsleds. And you know, we've made the decision several weeks ago that if we don't have a sponsor, we're not going to the racetrack. So right now, you know, Kansas is 3 weeks away or 4 weeks away. We don't have a sponsor for Kansas, and right now we're not going. We're preparing as if we're going. The guys are working on the stuff at the shop, and everything's going full steam ahead, but the bottom line is if we don't have the money to go, we can't go. I mean, there comes a point where common sense outweighs the want to race. The racer in all of us, we'd all go broke racing if we had to. But you got to have some common sense and some business sense and make the right decisions for the business. So that's what we've decided, and we've got a lot of people looking for sponsorships for us, a lot of great companies that we're talking to that show a lot of interest. You know, everybody's worried about the economy and not having companies interested in our sport. That's just not so. We've called several companies, and they're all interested. They all, you know, we've got probably 10 or 12 callbacks from companies interested in the truck series, interested in NASCAR, and coming to being part of our sport. So that's the great news. The tough part about it, it takes a corporation that can afford this, you know, 10 or 12 weeks to make the decision to get involved. They got to go through the marketing department. They got to find the funds and allocate the funds toward it. So it takes a long time and it's a long process to get to this point of getting a decal on a truck going around a racetrack. But the good news is we've got a lot of interest.
They've got plenty of time between now and Kansas. Hopefully somebody's got the money, Ray.
And Adam, we saw quite a few new sponsors this weekend here at the racetrack, and one of those on the Ford truck, Oakley, coming on board. And Ricky Carmichael, your schedule just keeps expanding and expanding. You got to be pretty excited about that.
Absolutely. Glad to have Oakley on board this Chevy truck today, man. And also, this track is awesome. It's my first time here, and just thankful. I've been with Oakley since 1991. I was signed up with them as an amateur on motorcycles, so pretty cool. Definitely thankful for them, and I can't wait to race, man. I have had a blast since I turned the first lap out here today.
You know, we were talking in the first practice today that this racetrack might suit you a little more because you've had a lot of experience on short tracks in the East Series.
Absolutely. You know, I learned a lot there. Obviously, this is a whole different kind of truck here than what I raced last year, so I'm excited, man. I am looking forward to it. I wasn't that fast in practice this second session, but I felt good, and we had wore-out tires. So I spun out in the first practice, still kept them on, and I feel really good about our race effort.
You've been running by yourself a bunch here in this practice. Are you prepared for how crazy this race can get? I mean, there's a lot of beating and banging coming your way tomorrow.
If I'm not ready, there ain't but one way, and that's to be ready when the race comes, and you know, just hold my own. That's all I'm going to do, and try to put her there at the end, man.
All right, Ricky Carmichael fans ready to watch him race, and go out and buy yourself a pair of new sunglasses. Adam?
And one of the benefits, Ray, for Ricky Carmichael, no doubt in 2009, is this guy, his teammate Ron Hornaday. What do you make of that young kid across the street that's been doing so good in the early going for KHI?
He's got a lot of talent. He actually doing a little bit of announcing, too. I seen him on the Supercross field, so it's really cool to see Oakley step up because it wasn't a race he was supposed to run, and to be able to come to Martinsville for the first time, he's doing awesome. He knows exactly what the truck's doing, and it's pretty cool to know the feeling of a bike for a truck is pretty similar. But I got to thank Longhorn for coming aboard again. I mean, it's pretty cool to see these colors and that bull on the front of this Chevrolet truck.
You know, Ricky is off to a good start in 2009, but his expectations totally different than yours. How would you assess the start to this campaign for you?
Well, I mean, we're running real well. We just don't have the finishes. You know, a 5th, 6th, and 7th not showing how good this team really is and how good the GM products are. So we got to get our finishes a little better. So I'm pretty happy with it. We made some different changes in the truck I ran at Phoenix a lap. I didn't really get to run it that long because I crashed the first lap, but it's one of the best trucks we have up at KHI. So we brought this one here at Martinsville. So we'll get some more laps out there and see what we got.
You're a great short tracker. A new tire here for tomorrow's race. How will that impact the outcome, do you think?
You know, I haven't seen any difference. We tried some different front-end geometries, and we're right back to where we ran the truck. And I just went out there, and it was the best the truck's been. So then it started raining. So we're going to try to put some laps on it and see what these tires do. But it looks like everybody's getting real loose on them. I heard the Cup guys are complaining about the same thing, and a lot of truck guys are. So Brian Scott come down and said he wore his rear tires out already. So I've always been tight here, so maybe I've got a pretty good setup here for Martinsville, and I know that we'll run well.
I'm not impartial to sponsors, Rick, but there's something about a bull on the hood of a truck driven by Ron Hornaday that seems just to make sense.
Yeah, it definitely does. You know, amazingly enough, you talk about him being such a good short tracker. He's never won at this racetrack. And
that is
he's
amazing.
Been here a few times. 39 wins for Ron Hornaday, and this is one racetrack that he's still looking for that first win. Next races for the Camping World Truck Series: Kansas, Charlotte, and Dover. All racetracks where Hornaday is very strong at. We'll be back with more final practice, at least track drive, at this. Welcome back. Quite a few people in the infield and the garage area here at Martinsville Speedway.
The nice thing is they're not all carrying umbrellas, but
see where that big red dot is? That's where we are, right there on the border between North Carolina and Virginia.
They may need to go find an umbrella, though.
Yeah, it's coming. It's coming. And again, we had a shower that pretty much wiped the track out as far as the possibility of getting on. And so the jet dryers came out. They have dried a good portion of this racetrack. And, well, we hope that we get out there for at least a few more laps.
I think we will. I mean, the track is drying quickly. I don't know why that guy's drying that part. I'd send him over on the back straightaway or something. You're in trouble if you get up there anyway. You'd be in more trouble if it's wet, I guess. That's probably why they're doing that.
Mike Skinner checking out the racetrack and the drying efforts. Mike would love to get that bad boy mowers truck back out on the racetrack.
You got Hornaday with a bull and Skinner with a mean dog. This is shaping up to be a real battle here in Virginia.
We're going to have a fight on the half-mile paperclip, Martinsville Speedway. We'll be back right after these messages on Speed. Overcast skies, the big story right now for this, the final practice for the Camping World Truck Series. Again, we are on hold as the track continues to dry. Let's go back to the garage and Adam Alexander.
Colin Brown made his career debut here in October '07, Rookie of the Year last year. How confident are you entering this weekend?
Well, you know, the first practice session for this number 6 Conway Freight Ford F-150 was a little struggle for us. We went and tested at Little Rockingham up in Rockingham, and it didn't, it went really well, but I don't know if we learned things that really apply to this racetrack. So had to kind of undo some of those. We did the last change here, the last run, we were really comfortable with it. Really made a big improvement to the truck, and I feel like we're going to be in good shape for the race, so just be staying out of trouble.
They are in the top 5, Ray.
And Adam, in the last 5 races we've run here, one of the best trucks in those has been Matt Crafton. How you like your chances tomorrow?
We're just a little bit off. I mean, if we get a 10th out of this thing, we'll be a truck to be able to win this race. Our Chevy's just a little bit off right now. I mean, we had some good change. We made it a lot better in the second practice, but we still just need a little bit more to get us up front, top 3.
Okay, good luck to you, Matt Crafton, 12th on the chart from this practice. Rick?
Thank you, Ray. Take a look at our times. Again, not too many laps turned by any one of the drivers out there. I think the most was J.R. Fitzpatrick at 22 laps. And here's, I guess, the fastest. Rick Crawford, 20.097. That compares, I mean, it's pretty close to what was run in the first practice.
They ran about the same. And Timothy Peters just continues to impress. He's right up there in the 3rd spot. No sponsor when the year started, piecing it together and certainly doing a great job.
And remember, these are the same tires that these guys practiced on in the first practice session. So it's not like they put another new set of tires on. As you can see, Kyle Busch talking to Max Pappas there and giving Max some pointers.
4 sets of tires is all the Camping World Truck Series gets for the weekend. Again, a little maybe strategy, a little driving lesson taking place there between Kyle Busch and Max Pappas. While they continue to dry the track, we're going to slip back a couple hours to our first practice. Welcome back. Trucks are on the racetrack here for the Camping World Truck Series final practice. Kevin Harvick has jumped to the top of the charts. He's got the fastest time of anyone today.
Yeah, look at those 3 trucks clumped at the top within 1/100th of a second. Then there's a gap of about 1/10 of a second. But those next 7 trucks are all within 1/7/100th of a second.
That's amazing, isn't it, how close this thing is? That's a good-looking truck, man. I like that 2 truck.
Really
and it's
is.
fast. Maybe that's why I like it so much.
And brand spanking new.
Yeah.
The quicker picker-upper bounty on the hood of Kevin Harvick's truck, and it is running extremely well. at this point. Kyle Busch on the racetrack right now in his number 51.
The rain is coming back, y'all. Did you know that?
Yeah, we had the racetrack has been dried, and the trucks have been on the track for about 10 to 12 laps already that they were able to get out and really run some pretty good laps. And like I said, we saw Kevin Harvick jump to the top of the charts with an impressive run, and now the sprinkles are coming back.
Kyle Busch now has moved up into the top 5. He is 5th in this practice session. There's Brian Scott, the Albertsons Toyota. Behind the Fun Stuff Chevrolet of Johnny Sauter.
Fun Sand.
Fun Sand. What's
different
fun
colors?
Stuff?
Oh yeah,
Fun stuff.
Fun
your kids are playing in it.
Fun stuff. J.R. Richards, J.R. Fitzpatrick.
Rockingham.
If you're close, I mean, if it's close.
We got smart fans. The people that watch Speed know what's going on. We just got to get them. We get them headed in the right direction. Yeah. They can take it from there.
Just get them close.
Yeah, they've heard us long enough. They know what we're talking about, even when it doesn't come out right. Well, that's not what we wanted to come out, and it's the red flag, and it's because of this rain that is coming out. Well, on this racetrack once again, and this time it doesn't look like it's going to be letting up anytime soon.
The radar pretty much told this story. We got a little bit of a shower. It was a hit or miss shower. That thing could have easily went around us, but it hit us, got us wet. We felt like that we'd have 45 minutes or an hour before the big stuff got here, and it appears it's here.
It's about time. The last radar that we saw was not looking good. A lot of green down south of Martinsville Speedway. Let's go down to Ray Dunlap.
Well, thank you, Rick. And just before the rain started to come back for the second time, the 14 truck went almost to the top of the board. Rick Crawford, you happy with your vehicle?
I'm very happy with it. Kevin Strahl and all the guys on the International Truck and Engine Ford crew really give me a nice piece of drive this weekend. Now it's up to me. I got the truck that can win, so I need to put International Truck and Engine in victory lane.
Now, I heard you asking Cowboy about your lap times, and he said, don't worry about that. Worry if the driver's happy, right?
Well, you know how you want to hustle it and qualifying run and type trim, and you want to know what you run and where you didn't overrun the corner or something like that, because this is really an aggressive finesse racetrack, and I've been around it a long time, but there is a chance that you overrun the corner, and I didn't want to do that, so I wanted to hear what my time was because I felt like I did.
All right, Rick Crawford, really good here at Martinsville. Let's go to Adam.
And one of the great Cinderella stories of 2009 in the Truck Series, Timothy Peters, top 10 in points after 3 races, but fighting some issues today. What's the problem, Timothy?
Our Hayes Iron and Metal Strutmasters.com Tundra is really good. We found that one of the seals in the right rear of the housing busted on us and it leaked some grease over into the bearings. So we fixed that, wasn't able to get back to finish final practice, but hadn't made a mock run yet. Obviously, we're not going to be able to, so I think we're good for tomorrow if we get to do it.
And the good news is Strutmasters.com not only on the truck this weekend, but for Kansas and Lowe's as well. So Timothy going to be around for a few more weeks, guys.
Thank you so much, Adam and Ray. Now go ahead and get dry, guys. Get under a tent. It looks like it's going to rain for a while. That is the end of our final practice. NASCAR has said we've had enough.
And the guys that race those trucks said, well, we haven't.
That's right.
The Mother Nature's not going to cooperate. Next time these trucks will be on the track will be for qualifying tomorrow.
Right.
They've got a lot of time to science through what they learned in these 2 brief practices, and they can make a good guess as to where they're heading.
Well, we know we got the first full practice in, and then we got an abbreviated second practice. So they probably got a little more practice than they thought they were going to get today.
Yeah, pretty good day for Kevin Harvick as far as running a fast lap even after the rains came to shorten this practice. But he was the quickest all day at 20.006. And you see the other drivers that had take time on this second final practice.
Now, if you've got a fast truck and you're up toward the top of the lineup, you're going to just look for a straightforward race. You know, you're not going to try to pull any tricks. You're down there where Dennis Setzer is, back in the 19th or 20th spot. Some of these guys, Ricky Carmichael, Mike Bliss, they're going to have to play some strategy. And the tires and these pit road rules is going to make this race fun tomorrow.
And remember, Dennis Setzer won this race from 33rd to 34th.
Way back, so you can win it from anywhere. Well, this practice is over. Make sure to stay tuned to Speed as far as qualifying for the Cup Series goes later. We're going to head back to our first practice. Stay with us.